You will recall, of course, we've been reporting that France and Saudi Arabia are also hosting this conference together with the UN. They want this meeting to put a spotlight really on the two-state solution, which they view as the only viable roadmap to peace and to start addressing the steps to get there. We'll continue to unpack, of course, what this all means. And in fact, let's now bring in international relations analyst Professor Gilbert Khadiagala to weigh in on the conference hosted by the UN on the two-state solution. Prof, a very good afternoon to you, and thank you so much for your time. So many of the countries attending the conference have thrown their weight behind the United Nations led two-state solution conference between Israel and Palestine, including, of course, South Africa, as you've heard there from the Minister Ronald Lamola. What do you then make, Prof, of, on the one hand, you have the calls or you have countries saying that this particular conference is some sort of a roadmap to a finality in this particular conflict in Palestine, and saying that a two-state solution is the only solution for justice for Palestinians. But on the one hand, you've got Israel and the United States boycotting this particular conference.
The big problem here is that the two players, the U.S. and Israel, are not at this meeting because they have been very clear they don't want that meeting. The meeting was authorized by the UN last September, so they have had enough time to prepare for it. The problem is Israel is not interested in a two-state solution. Trump is not interested in a two-state solution. So that is the problem. The rest of the countries in the world, I think they can make all kinds of statements about a roadmap and all that, but ultimately you need the two critical players to be at this meeting if it has to make any sense at all. And also let me say that the two-state solution has been on the table for so many years, but nobody, particularly as I said, the Western countries and Israel have not really put any energy in that momentum of the call for a two-state solution. The only difference now is that France says is going to recognize the state of Palestine in September, but it's going to be the only five of the Western countries to do that. So anyway, I think this meeting to me does not make any difference to the conflict that I think we see going on in Gaza and the stalemate around the two-state solution.
Prof, I have to apologize to your viewers. Your sound is not the greatest, but let's see if we can continue just on these few points. What would, this roadmap to this two-state solution look like, particularly as you've raised earlier on, that the two key players here, being the United States and, Israel not being present, boycotting this particular conference? Not only that, but, even after two Israeli human rights organizations said that Israel was committing genocide against Palestinians in Gaza, Israel continues to deny this.
Yeah, because it has never really been in the interest of Israel to allow for a two-state solution. And it has been very clear, particularly under Netanyahu, that a Palestinian state is anathema to Israeli security. And that has been the consistent position of the Prime Minister. So if the UN is coming up with a reiteration of the old position of a two-state solution, you have to make the Israelis tie into that position. But they can't because they have no incentive. And Trump is also very clear that he's not interested in a Palestinian state. So that's why I'm saying the stalemate that has been in existence for decades still persists. And I don't see any difference, therefore, that this meeting is going to make.
Absolutely, Prof. I think let's leave it there for now. Not the greatest sound, I'm afraid, but thank you so much for your insights. Really do appreciate it. Professor Gilbert Khadiagala just weighing in on that conference currently taking place. It's hosted by the UN on the two-state solution to war between Israel and Palestine. We'll continue, of course, to reflect on just some of the statements that have been made so far during that conference. The UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres also speaking on day one of that conference, basically telling delegates and diplomats at the opening of the meeting that a two-state solution is further away than ever before, pointing to the obliteration of Gaza that has unfolded before the eyes of the world. In fact, just some of the utterances also being spelled out there by the professor. And Guterres saying Israel's threatened annexation of the West Bank, the key parts that could make up a Palestinian state. We'll continue, of course, to monitor just some of those utterances from the various countries that are in attendance.